Hi there, welcome to Lilly-Tree. Today we're making these cute little wire-wrapped drop earrings. And if you want to see more techniques and tutorials like this one, hit that subscribe button. Now let's get wire wrapping. To make these, we need 1mm diameter copper wire, which is 18 gauge, 0.4mm diameter copper wire, which is 26 gauge, some beads, and some earring findings. And the tools we're using are bell making pliers or round nose pliers, flat nose or chain nose pliers, wire cutters, a hammer and block, and a file. For each earring we need about 18 centimetres of the 1mm diameter or 18 gauge wire, and that's just over 7 inches. We'll start by adding the beads. And I've got 2 little rounds and a bicone here, just to add a bit of interest. And we want to position them in the centre of the wire and then bend that wire into a teardrop shape. I'm going to make this into a fairly narrow long drop, but you can make whatever shape you like. And you just need to make sure those sides are fairly even. So I'll use my flat nose pliers just to help adjust them. Make sure that you're happy with the shape and then create the other earring in the same way. To get the 2 earrings the same, it's easier to do each step simultaneously. And for this second earring, cross the wires over in the opposite way, so the other side is at the front to the first earring. In this case, the right hand side. We then want to make the loops at the top of the earrings, and I'm going to use the smallest step on my bell making pliers for this, but if you haven't got bell making pliers you could use your round nose pliers. I'm going to take that front wire, wrap it around the bell making pliers and take it to the back of the earring. And I want it so it's sitting inside the drop shape. I'm then going to do the same with the other wire. But for this one, I'm going to bring to the front of the earring. And just make sure that you're happy with where they're positioned. So they're sitting directly inside that drop shape. We're then going to trim those wires just at the bottom where they're touching the beads. And you can hold the 2 earrings together with the loops at the top, just to make sure you're trimming the wires evenly on the other earring. We then want to just bend those ends inwards a little bit. You can bend them in as much as you want, but just make sure they're even each side. And about the same for both earrings. And we just want to hammer the very ends of the wire to splay them out a little bit. I can get into this space with my small riveting hammer, but if you've got a larger hammer you could carefully open the wires out to do this. And then reshape them back together again. This again is a bit of design detail, but it just finishes off the wires nicely. Now that hammering can create a few burrs, so just file the ends carefully. So they're smooth and there's nothing there that'll catch. We're now about ready to weave the design, but we want the finished earring to have those two loops sitting above each other. At the moment, those wires spring open a little bit. So just to help keep them together whilst we weave them, I'm going to wrap them together with a little bit of scrap wire. This doesn't have to be particularly neat, but just wrap them until they're holding together. Then I'm going to take my 0.4mm diameter or 26 gauge wire, and I've got about 1 metre here. Put the ends together to find the centre. Then I want to thread it through the centre where those 4 wires are crossing. And take it through until I reach the centre of that weaving wire, because we'll have half weaving down each side. Now taking one side, we're going to wrap over just that outer wire twice. You might just need to keep moving the beads out of the way. And then we're wrapping twice over both wires down that side. And then we're going to wrap just the outer wire twice, and then both wires twice. I will be using this 2-2 weave down both sides of the earring. Once we've got one side started a little way, we can turn the earring over and wrap the other side in exactly the same way. So we're wrapping just the outer wire twice. Then both wires twice. And then back to the outer wire twice. And then both wires twice. And we're going to use this weave right the way down until the 2 wires part where we curved that inner wire. Then we can flip the earring back over and weave down the other side in the same way. We just need to make sure we've got the same number of wraps on both sides. And they're finishing in about the same place. If we've got the right number of wraps, but they seem to be slightly uneven, we can either compress the weave, push it together a little bit more, or just pull it apart slightly till they're even. I'm quite happy with that. So we're just going to finish that weaving wire off by coiling it down the outer wire to meet the beads. And then we'll turn it over and coil the other side in the same way. And use the same number of wraps on both sides. We're now finished with that weaving wire, so we can trim off the ends. And use our flat nose pliers just to make sure it's flush with the frame wire. Then we can take that scrap piece of tacking wire out from the top. And that's one earring woven. We can now adjust those wire ends if we want to. And just make sure those two loops are sitting on top of each other at the top. Then we need to weave the other earring in the same way. And finally pop on our earring findings. And that's our earrings finished. We can leave them as this bright copper, or as I'm going to do, use liver of sulphur to patina them. I hope you enjoyed the video. If so, hit that like button. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel and head over to my website for more hints, tips and projects. Thanks for watching and I'll see you soon.